Right, hi everybody, and welcome to another Wunderkammer podcast. I'm here with Russell Oxley from the Taxidermy Emporium. I've been looking forward to this one because we're going to be talking man-eating tigers. And it's just blown my mind just recently. I've been reading these books by Jim Corbett, and Russ, as you know, he's just a legend, isn't he? You know, did you read the books
Well,
when you were
not
younger?
not really, Edward. No,
No,
I bought my first tiger skin when I was about 18.
right,
Always loved wildlife, so
yeah.
I bought I asked an antique shop in Nottingham if they could find me a tiger skin. Well, obviously, when I was 18, a long time ago, 30 odd years ago, taxidermy wasn't very popular.
Hmm.
But 12 months later, I got a phone call from the antique shop saying they've got a tiger skin. Did I want it? So I rush into Nottingham and buy this tiger skin, and that's what set it off. That set the whole ball rolling for the Taxidermy Emporium,
Hmm.
you know, 30 something years ago now.
That's
And
incredible.
then I discovered the hunting books from Jim Corbett, and there's quite a few others, Keith Anderson, etc. And the whole history of man eaters, of the Raj in India, I guess, and tigers just fascinated me, and it still does to this day.
Yeah, you haven't lost the appetite for it, have you, at all? I don't think you can
Not
lose
at
that.
all.
Can no? It's and the people. I just
When
want to
I
get it. Sorry, go for it, Russ.
Go on.
I just want to get this
When
straight
I
with.
get offered a tiger, when I get offered a tiger skin,
Yeah.
it's almost I'm like going on a tiger hunt
Right. Okay. Yes, I see. Because you've got to
because
research
I
it.
normally have to. Yeah, I normally have to travel to find these tiger skins. They come up in people's attics, and or people are downsizing, and grandpa shot a tiger in India. So when I go and find them, it's quite a mission for me to. I
Mm,
find it very exciting to go and find out about the tiger, about the history of the tiger, who shot it, where it was shot, why it was shot.
mm,
It was mostly because they were taking cattle or killing people. I've
mm,
got quite a few that were trophies of my own. I guess trophies is the wrong word these days, but preserved tiger heads,
mm,
and they've eaten people. These tigers have eaten 20 odd people. That's why
mm,
they were shot.
mm. That's it,
So
people.
it's a fascinating.
Like like you said, Russ. You're into wildlife, and this is what I want to get straight with people is people like yourself, we don't agree with hunting. We don't agree with any of this. Yeah, we agree with what they had to do in that time. Do you get what I'm saying? It's a totally different time to what it
Yeah,
is now, and you get that from
exactly.
when you read those books by Jim Corbett. These animals, these tigers, which were usually injured. Am I correct? They were
Yeah,
usually had some sort of injury. They couldn't hunt animals, their normal prey.
yeah.
So they went for either cattle and then they went for humans, basically. So
Human
there
beings,
was,
the easiest prey on the planet, really, aren't they?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
You know,
yeah,
if it's lost its canines, like some did, through I guess through bad hunting, or they were scared away from cattle with an old muzzle loader,
mm,
and they got injured. In fact, I've
mm.
got one here, right here.
Oh, brilliant. Let's get into it.
His canines are smashed.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Right.
So there's no way this tiger could
Mm,
hunt his natural prey with teeth
right.
kind of
Like that.
almost non-existent.
Yeah. Wow.
So he would have gone after man and hunted man,
Yeah.
and that's why there were so many, I guess, conflicts in the jungles of India.
Mm,
There was a lot of deforestation going off at the time, around the turn of the century, and also the population was increasing. So if a tiger loses its habitat and there's more people about, it's going to attack people. There's no
yeah.
question about it.
And the thing was, these tigers as well. I mean, the Indians thought that they were bad spirits, and they would have to
Yeah,
lock themselves in. They wouldn't go out. They literally menaced villages for years.
yeah.
And
These little villagers would be terrified of a man eater, a leopard, or a tiger.
yeah, yeah. And
And
then
like you
that's
say,
when,
they'd be locked in the huts for. for days on end.
Yeah, and then that's when they called in Jim Corbett, wouldn't it? He was like the most famous hunter. And when you actually get into him as a person, he was like, he's got to be one of the best sort of hunters of all time. The way that he used to use the wildlife.
He was called in for the most troublesome tigers, wasn't he? You know, if nobody else could get rid of the tiger, then Jim was called in from literally hundreds of miles away to kind of track the tiger down and dispatch it, really.
Yeah.
Because some of these villagers have been trapped in their houses for weeks and wouldn't dare go out.
Yeah. Well, it was the leopard, the book that we were talking about pre-podcast, the man-eating leopard of Rudra Prayag or something like this, and we can't say it. But this leopard, it was something like 8 years. It was terrorizing sort of 400 miles square, area, and
massive.
Yeah, and it's
massive range,
and it was literally for 8 years. People went home when it got dark or dusk, locked themselves in, usually trying 2 doors because it broke down doors.
That's right.
And
we cannot imagine it these days that they were that scared and terrified that something so dangerous could be allowed around the houses. I mean, we can't imagine it in England.
No, definitely not. I mean, there is obviously still man-eaters out in India, isn't there? Because there is an area there where they've had problems. I can't think of the name of it, but it's where it's sort of like more like a mangrove sort of area, isn't it? And do you know what I mean?
Ponds,
and
where they go for the honey and everything in the swamps there. There's still man-eating tigers there, but there is also man-eating tigers in India itself. Inside India, as it were, especially up the north. You don't hear about it much these days because they don't publicise that they have to get rid of these tigers, I guess.
Because there's such a taboo over. There's such a taboo. There's such a taboo over the killing of tigers, which, of course, we totally disagree with. But then there's also that other side to it as well, isn't there? That people just brush to the side. Oh, that's all right. If we, especially in the Western world, we think, oh, just let them be, just let them eat the people. Do you know what I mean? Which is terrible, isn't it?
Yeah. Awful. Awful. Yeah. I mean, let me show you something here.
Yeah.
Last year, a lady got in touch with me about a Black Panther skin she'd got.
Right.
And she'd had it. Well, it had been handed down from her grandfather. It dated to about 1924, I think it was. So I got in touch with her, and after a couple of weeks, I went down to see the lady in question who'd got this leopard skin. And I can't show you it. I've not got it out at the moment, but it was shock because it had eaten one person. It had eaten a little girl, from a village. And when the skin was obviously taken off the animal and it was taxidermied, they found a tiny little bangle in its stomach.
Oh, man.
From the girl it ate. So it's only a toddler's bangle. As you can see, I can only just fit 2 fingers through this bangle. But that was found in the stomach of a black panther.
That's just insane.
Which it brings home why they were killed. They weren't just shot for trophies. They were shot for a reason. And I think everybody listening to this podcast will probably, you can put it together, can't you? If your child had been eaten by a cat, you'd want to get rid of it.
What would you do? Exactly. And that was it. And a lot of the time they, especially with the leopards, because they live so close together with each other and they basically done everything together, the family saw this happen as well. They saw their child or their partner being dragged away, so it's exactly. And that doesn't hit home until you start thinking about it and until you start reading these books and until you realize that there was a time when they would have classed them as evil spirits, and it's literally, they were probably classed as monsters, really, the closest thing you could say to a monster, really. But they are also an amazing animal, and they're just doing what they've got to do to survive as well. That is the other
Of
side of
course,
it. You
they
know,
had no other protection, did they? Really, it's just they had to get rid of the animal.
yeah, yeah, no, incredible. So, how many man-eating ones have you got, Russ? And these are all in your personal collection, are they?
Yeah, we've got just over half a dozen man eaters, probably mainly tigers, but we've got a couple of leopards. Um, I find that when I get a good backstory to something,
Mm,
and all the history on the cat and on the person who shot it, etc. I like to keep those because they're kind of the cream of the crop when you've got full provenance on it.
yeah.
Really, I mean, I've got a tiger head that was shot by the policeman who arrested Gandhi.
And you
Yeah,
found that because as well, then so a lot of them, what you get, then you can look them up, can't you? I mean, to find they have sometimes they have
you can
numbers, and is
all the
that how you do the research?
yeah, most of the Van-Ingen ones have gotten a serial number on, and
Mm,
with a bit of digging about, I can find the whole provenance, what date it was shot, who it was shot by, and that comes in really good when I'm doing a restoration for somebody. I mean, a guy bought a tiger head in a couple of weeks ago. It was absolutely black, filthy, dirty, and that had been handed down from his grandfather. Um, and he was just absolutely over the moon when I pulled up the Van-Ingen, a photograph of the Van-Ingen order book with his grandfather's name in there.
wow, yeah, that's
Um,
incredible.
I mean, the tiger head came up amazing, really. It was a real big, nice one. Um, but to pull the history up for this guy, it made the whole story for him. It seemed real,
Yeah, no, I bet
because he
that
didn't
is.
even tell me what his grandfather's name was, and I said it's quite an unusual name, and he said, "Yeah, that's right, yeah." And I handed him the paper. He's like, "Wow, I can't believe that."
Wow, that is
Yeah,
incredible. They must be absolutely stoked. So, Russ, what else have you got to show us? Have you got some? Could you show us some more tiger heads and give us a story on each one? Is that possible? Have you got anything to hand?
let's have a look. Let's have a look what we've got. I mean, this one here.
Yeah.
Can you see that one?
Yes, 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 mate. Yeah.
It's about 120 years old. This one
Right.
came from a family in Evesham, and
Wow.
grandfather had shot it because it was bothering people. And this also comes with a load of photographs from when it was shot in 120 years ago.
Yeah.
Obviously black and white photographs then, but to have this sort of provenance is amazing, really.
Mm. Yeah, I mean they're so beautiful as well, aren't they? And the work that must do. I mean, the people that Van-Ingen were like the cream as well of taxidermists. So what
Yeah,
you're getting is something that literally, mate. They were like the best, weren't they? Was it Roland Ward? Are they the other ones?
yeah.
But
Roland Ward
obviously,
were good as well.
but they obviously didn't do so many tigers because they were different, weren't they? A different sort of, or did they?
They did a fair few tigers, Roland Ward, but not on the same scale as Van-Ingen. I mean, Van-Ingen Company did around 25,000 tigers.
That's insane, isn't it?
um, which is that blows our mind these days because there's not that many tigers alive anymore. But
Mm,
that was a period from 1900 to about 1980.
mm,
Well, 1970 when it was banned. They were still doing the odd one the the zoos when one died, etc.
yeah.
But yeah, the firm was running a long time.
That's it. And that's another thing as well. Like tigers as well, Russ. They're now making such a resurgence as well, and that's down to people like Jim Corbett as well, isn't it? Because he was a. I mean, there's a whole reservation named after him where the tigers are, and he was
Yeah,
into
there's Jim
what?
Corbett National Park. Yeah,
Yeah, and there was
yeah,
he was a photographer as well. He would rather photograph them
yeah.
than shoot them, and he says that in the book. But obviously, he had to do the man eating ones,
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
I don't think the guy enjoyed shooting the tigers, Edward. Really, I
No.
think it was just a job he was given to do. And like you say, he was a big naturalist, and in the end, when he was older, he'd rather photograph one than shoot it, which he did quite a lot of.
Yeah. No.
Um,
Have you got
Here's
any of
just
his?
another example of,
Oh yeah. Let's have a look at. Is that a leopard you've got there?
yeah, a piece of Van-Ingen's work.
Wow. I
Absolutely
mean,
stunning leopard head.
that's incredible.
I've got a load of history on this one. I can't tell you what it is at the moment, but I just forget what we have really sometimes.
I can see that you've got because so as the Taxidermy Emporium, that's your business, yeah, and that's UK, but
Yeah.
you're sort of one of the biggest. Would you say sort of big cat specialists? Is that what you mainly
I'd
do?
say we are one of the biggest cat. Yeah, I've set probably sales and restoration side of it. Yeah, that's what I really like to do. Really, the big cats. So we concentrate on restoring the big cats for customers all over the world. You know, and buying ones to resell after we've restored them. You know, we make sure they're restored properly before they go out again, and hopefully doing this will provide somebody with a tiger skin to admire rather than somebody going out and shooting a new tiger. I mean, there's plenty of old ones about, so
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. That's a
that's what
really
we try to do.
yeah. No, I see you've got some other specimens as well in the background. You've got like a croc and a is that like a seal or a sea lion or something? Is that is
Yeah.
right? Oh, yeah. I don't know a great deal about taxidermy, Russ, but is that called a mugger croc? Is that what that is?
It is. I think it's yeah. One's a mugger croc. There's a sea lion.
Right.
They're all old antiques, you know. So pre
Yeah.
47, most of them. The sea lion's newer, but that doesn't need any permits. But to be honest, Edward, I just buy things that I like really, and I seem to pick some nice stuff as well. So
Yeah.
um,
And so
yeah,
if
it's a fascinating world, and we could probably speak for days on the subject, really.
it the man eater side of this, I've only just got into this, Russ, and reading them books, it's sort of blown my mind, really, you know, because it's just fascinating, also scary, you know, and also when you
Yeah,
start reading,
terrifying, really.
and yeah, and also when you start reading these books, you can't put them down, especially the leopard one, and especially the man eaters of Kuman as well. That's absolutely amazing. So I highly recommend them to people. And
Yeah, they're
when we spoke,
super reads, aren't they?
yeah, when we spoke,
There's
sorry, go
the
on.
man eaters of Camone.
That's
That's
it. Yeah,
super. There's My India.
right.
Have you
Okay.
read that one? My
No,
India.
I haven't
That's
read
really
that one yet. Yeah,
um, and the leopard one as well. That's really good. And I'm sure there's one other one.
yeah,
But yeah, fascinating stories and all written at Jim's desk, which we own now.
yeah. You were
We bought
saying
Jim
that.
Corbett's desk. Yeah, it came via another guy who imported it from India in the 80s. He imported the desk from Nainital in India and
Yeah.
restored it, and then I went and bought it from an auction that all his stuff went in when he passed away. So we're really fortunate to have that bit of kit.
That's incredible. That it really is. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is absolutely
Yeah,
incredible. Because
so
when you,
so I sit at my desk, which is Jim Corbett's desk, doing the taxidermy business, which is just, it's phenomenal. It blows me away, really.
that is just. I mean, I couldn't have asked for when I reached out and said, "Does anybody know anybody that owns any manis on Instagram?" And you like said yes. And then when I got speaking to you, and especially about the Jim Corbett stuff, and then you said, "Well, I've actually got his desk as well." I was like, that just blew. You know,
I
you
know.
couldn't get a better thing to be sitting at, and you know,
Not
sort
really. No. It makes me smile every day, Edward.
yeah. So, what's the biggest best piece you've ever had? Do you keep? Have you kept it, or did you let it go, or what sort of bits have you had in the past that you
Yeah,
sort of?
I've got some amazing tiger heads in the house.
Yeah.
Really big ones. To quite small ones, actually. You
Yeah.
don't see many small tiger heads.
Right.
Let me see if I show you one. There you go. Can you see those?
Yes. Yes. That is a small one. isn't it?
So one's a big one, really big, and
Yeah.
the other's quite small, which is a little sad, really. It's a bit sad. And then there's some stuff awaiting restoration in the boxes here, and
Wow.
another lovely one.
Wow, incredible, Russ. And you do all the
So yeah,
restoration yourself? Yeah. You have a team? Is it
I
mainly
do a lot
you?
of it myself. I'm just teaching my son to do it as well.
Oh, great. So you're
He's been
passing
in the
that
studio
down.
this afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's just turned 21 this coming weekend, so he's really getting quite involved with the taxidermy business, which is good. It's good.
Yes.
It's nice that he's taken over a bit, really.
Yeah. Give you.
Learning the skills that have taken me 20 years to learn. It's a difficult skill to learn, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when you
Imagine.
specialize in that sort of big cats as well. If you specialise in it, you must learn so much in them 20 years, and you need that person there all the
Yeah,
time to pass that on, don't you, as well, which is great. And to
that's
keep it in the
right. Yeah,
family is amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, it really is.
It's obviously been trial and error, really. I guess over the
Yeah,
years, but in fact, I've saved some really nice pieces that need restoring because I didn't really know how to do them.
right. Oh,
And
okay.
now,
Yeah, so now you know.
after 20 years, it's coming to fruition that we can restore them. And it took me probably 10 years to crack making a whisker, really, that you could hardly tell from a real one.
Brilliant. Wow, that's incredible. That really is,
I mean,
mate.
you can
How
make
much
them out of bamboo. They break dead easy. So we've found a way of making tapered whiskers that don't break.
That's insane.
And
So
it's
you go down to such detail as well with these. You have to spend so much detail and get them
yeah.
looking perfect. Yeah, because
I'm a bit
you've got.
OCD about it, really.
Well, the thing is as well, because it's Van-Ingen as well. A lot of the ones that you're doing, which is obviously the best, you've got to be the
Yeah,
best to match it. Do you get what I'm
that's right.
saying when you're restoring? So
I
yeah,
do. Yeah.
what would be your dream piece that you haven't got?
A Van-Ingen snow leopard, please, if anybody's got one.
Do you know what? Someone messaged me the other day saying they're going to look at a snow leopard. And I kid you not.
Really?
Yeah, I'll speak
Yeah,
to
I've
you
got a
after.
Van-Ingen snow leopard.
Oh,
I've
have you?
got a rug
Yeah.
by Van-Ingen, but I want a wall mount. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah, if anybody's
Yeah.
listening out there, got one, definitely a place for it here.
Yeah. What about clouded leopards? Did they do them? Because they're an Indian sort of cat, aren't they?
They did do them. Yeah, one of them would be nice as well. I did have a nice skin, but somebody offered me, top dollar, so it had to go, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's it. So you have to sort of sell to buy, as such as well, don't you? It's a business for you, isn't it? This. So, you've got to keep it
I'd
going.
love to keep everything, Edward, but I can't keep everything.
No.
We don't
You've
want the
got
house looking like a museum, although it does a little bit.
yeah, no.
But
It
yeah,
look
you can't just keep buying, can you? Really?
Yeah, no. Are you still finding it easy to find good specimens out there as well, or is it sort of now becoming
No.
harder and harder?
Yeah, they're thin on the ground, really thin on the ground. But saying that, I bought two leopards this year and a tiger skin,
Mm.
and a Indian Gare bison head.
Right, brilliant.
So
Yeah,
this year's been quite rewarding already for the first month of the year.
yeah,
They all want restoration. They're
yeah,
not pristine by a long way.
yeah.
But yeah, we've been quite fortunate in finding those this year.
Yeah, no, it blows my mind
Yeah,
that there's so many specimens out there. One day, Russ, I'm going to own a man eater. I can just feel it. I'm going
yeah,
to get myself one. That's what I want, I think.
yeah. With some history.
Yeah, with some
Yeah, it's
history.
fascinating. Really.
To be able to delve deep into that, and then photos as well. And yeah, it's just the stories would be great to find one that has a story behind, for sure, definitely.
It's an endless social history, really,
Yeah.
of what went on when Britain ruled India. The
Mm,
time of the Raj,
mm,
and I guess that's why there's so many in England, because
yeah.
we ran India, and I guess they all came back with the troops when we after the Second World War, when there was the partition and everything, and India became independent.
Yeah, that's
So I
as a bonus.
guess thousands of tiger skins came back around that time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, it's the same even in Africa as well. You know, we had parts of that, so there was bits coming back from there as well. Yeah, do you have many lions and stuff like that?
Yeah, we have the odd lion here. Yeah. Most of the lions are done by Roland Ward.
Yeah,
because obviously there is Asian lions in India, but not many. I've got one full Indian skin.
Really? Oh, wow.
By Van-Ingen. Yeah, which people want to buy off me, but it's mine, so they can't. But did you know about Jim Corbett being in Africa in his later life?
No, I didn't really know about that. No, fill me in.
Yeah, he retired to Africa.
Right. Okay.
When India got a bit when there was a lot of trouble, wasn't there, the time of the partition?
Yeah.
And even before that, so Jim retired to Africa, and I don't know if you've probably seen footage of Queen Elizabeth in Africa.
Right.
Well, actually, it was Princess Elizabeth when she was over there at Treetops Safari, and she went up to the tree house as Princess Elizabeth, and came down Queen Elizabeth because her father had died, and Jim Corbett had accompanied her on that not hunting trip, but safari.
Wow, I never knew that. That's an interesting fact, that is. Yeah, because I've seen some. I think I watched an episode of The Crown, or it was something like that, and you got the history of when he died, and she became sort of the queen, queen, and Jim Corbett was there with her. That's amazing.
Yeah, he was accompanied. He was like a bodyguard in the in the safari. So, yeah, when she turned from princess to queen, he was there.
Well, you wouldn't want a better bodyguard, really, would you? To be honest with you, out in the wild.
Not really, no. No, Jimmy's a good one there, I think.
yeah, he was pretty good. That's why people, please go and read his books, because you just don't understand. If you're into game shooting, even, like, his craft and fishing. He was a big fisherman as well. Marseille fishing, wasn't he?
He was. He was a big fisherman, yeah.
As well, and I doubt people even know this, because there's a lot of people who are into like big game fishing, and especially Marseille. And when he was out there fishing for Marseille, there was loads of Marseille, big ones. He would be catching like 60, 70 pounders, at most days. And now they're like rocking horse shit. You wouldn't be able to find one, because, and and the way that he would use different animals to determine where the leopard was, or how close the leopard was, how he could track. I mean, that blows my mind, how he would know that the leopard was following him the night before,
Yeah. Not only would he track them, he would call them onto himself as well.
Yes, that was the tiger calling a tiger in.
Do the call.
Yeah, calling a tiger in. That is seriously ballsy, isn't it?
He was brave enough to do that. He had some big boots on, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And the one thing that did stand out as well, Russ, was one of the chapters in the book where he wrapped a coat around his neck. Yeah, because obviously the leopard was just, it would go for the neck, and then it would just be one twist, kill the person, drag him off. And he was sort of like, one time he wrapped his coat because he just felt that the leopard was basically on him, and he wrapped a coat around his neck and sat out in the wild.
I think he had a lot of close calls, didn't he, really, from when you read all the books?
I think so. I think he was just at the top of his game, really, wasn't he? Well, Russ, I would love to talk to you all day. Our half an hour is up, mate. And I just appreciate you coming on and just showing me some of these pieces and showing everybody some of these pieces that you've got, because there isn't a better collection of man-eaters, I don't think, out there, to be honest with you. And where can everybody find you if they want to speak to you, Russ? Where do they all go? If they want to speak to you or come and have a look.
Just put Taxidermy Emporium into Google and we'll come up on Google.
Yeah, and that's the best thing. And then
there's the email on there. We are www.taxidermyemporium.co.uk, and everything's on Google that you need to know about us. Really, there's lots of good reviews on there of all our work and sales. Plenty of stuff on the website to educate people as well.
Yeah, and you're also a specialist in the paperwork side of things as well, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? So that's really important.
Yeah. It's not the easiest game at all doing the paperwork for Article 10s and export permits, but yeah, we've kind of got our head around it and offer that service as well if anybody needs an export permit. So yeah, feel free to contact us on that one too.
Nice one, Russ. Right, well, Russell Oxley, everybody, thank you very much, mate.